Good evening. Reading our news bulletin for tonight. Prime Minister Bill English's very first visit to Niue was as part of the Pacific Mission tour. Yesterday afternoon, a house burnt down in the village of Namkulu. The police have been busy for the past 2 weeks with investigations and are looking at alternative ways to deal with cases involving some young people. Prime Minister Bill English made his first visit to Niue. It was brief, but an opportunity for introductions to the new New Zealand Prime Minister, a new Minister for Foreign Affairs, that is Jerry Brownlee, and a new Pacific Affairs Minister, Alfred Ngaro. The Prime Minister and his entourage were welcomed by Premier Sir Toke Talangi and government officials at the airport before proceeding to a group Takalo. Niue's police force was also there in formation for an inspection before moving on to meeting members of the Niue Legislative Assembly. The brief gathering program at the airport canopy opened with a briefing that was followed by speeches by both leaders.
It's such a pleasure to be here in Niue, and what I have to say is my first visit ever to the island. And I was struck as I came in by the unique landscape and beauty of it. We're looking forward to discussing the issues that we know are part of the partnership with New Zealand. And as part of that discussion, I want to acknowledge the presence of the Niuean community in New Zealand and what they add to our country, to its culture, to its businesses and workplaces, and to our understanding of our place in the world. So can I acknowledge the welcome, confirm the long-term partnership we have with the Niuean government, and we look forward to a few hours of intensive discussion. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
I'm looking forward to our discussions. I'm looking forward to exchanging views with you, sir, and your delegations. And I'm looking forward to a discussion on the philosophies of what we see and recognise as being our relationship, so that we can use that to guide our future developments. To also acknowledge and thank you for the contributions you've made to our economy. We appreciate it very much. I hope that today you will be able to go around and see some of the results of the investments that we've made with regard to the funds that you have provided for us to enable us to build a strong, vibrant and dynamic economy. And I'm very happy, let me say, with the progress we've made, and I'm pleased that we are where we are at the present moment. I hope to build on that, and with your help, I hope that we can continue to develop the economy here into something which is really strong and enable us to become self-sufficient in many respects in the long term to come.
There were more than 60 people who accompanied the Prime Minister on this Pacific mission, but there were only 2 Niueans. While the leaders were in bilateral discussions, the remainder of the delegation had separate programs. There was a session for politicians at the Niue Public Service Building, while business and NGO representatives were taken on short site visits to Niue Fresh, the Whalewhānau, Wharf, Alofi Central and Ukioki Mai before going to the opening of the new conference centre at Matavai. The Niue Chamber of Commerce coordinated a business expo at Matavai as an opportunity for local businesses to showcase products and services. Another purpose of Prime Minister Bill English's visit was to open the new convention centre at Matavai, and we spoke to him briefly about his trip to Niue.
Our objective is to make sure that the Niuean government and people know that we're committed to the ongoing partnership between New Zealand and Niue. I'm a new Prime Minister, a new Minister of Foreign Affairs. We've got a lot of Niueans at home, and we just want to reassure them about that. And secondly, to see the progress here, because there's been some big investments and more to come with Niue, and I was aware of these from 6 or 7 years ago, so it's great to come along just to see how it's working out in Niue, because I haven't been here before.
Niue shares a special relationship with New Zealand as a self-governing state in free association, and talks reflected on these diplomatic ties.
I think it'll continue on a pretty business-like basis. I mean, the Premier wants to be more self-reliant. He's keen to see the investments that can support growth in the economy and tourism, and we're keen on that, and that's why we're so pleased this one here at Matavai is working out well. And so we're talking about a longer term plan that'll make it easier for the government to respond to the challenges that come with growing numbers of tourists and growing business here in Niue, and growing pressures like waste management. It's just great. It's one of these risks that the government took here, both the Niue and New Zealand government, and it now looks to have a very positive result. I'm really impressed with the quality of the work here by the local labour force here. I mean, they're producing a high quality accommodation and conference centre, and so Niue's positioning itself as a high value tourist destination. And as they pointed out to me, that's one of the reasons more people are coming, because it's something a bit different. And of course, this a beautiful place here to be doing it. Well, I certainly hope to be back again. I'd have to win an election in September to come back as a Prime Minister. But I was, obviously a potential tourist. We could come here too. But look, the spectacular scenery here has been. I didn't really expect that. That's been very impressive. But just the warmth of the welcome. People are. These are New Zealand citizens. They're part of our country. With the so many Niueans in New Zealand, I think the closeness of that relationship is something you can know about in theory, but coming here you see it in practice. Oh, look, I just want to acknowledge the contribution that Niue's made to New Zealand. I mean, when we come here, we get appreciation for New Zealand's investment, as in this resort here. But we've got big Niuean influence in New Zealand. I mean, Niueans are in our workplaces, they're in our public service, they're in our schools and working in our hospitals, and that's good for New Zealand as a part of the special character of New Zealand with this connection. So I just want to acknowledge that contribution, but we don't mind if things are going well in Niue and they start coming back.
Success of any venture is dependent on many things. Well, one of the things that I always like to see is the physical representation of the investment that has been made by the New Zealand government for us here. And the fact that the convention centre is open and the new extensions to the accommodation is a tribute to the people who have worked. And I pay my due respects to CNET for the work that they have done, and the confidence that they've shown us to enable us to get a feel of what I might consider as being an international flavour for Niue. I know that many people were very sceptical when I first talked about what we can do to develop this country. And Prime Minister, many of them would have been in the same boat as you were. So I'm very happy indeed that you're here to see the results of the investment. And let me say that sometimes I get accused of running Niue as a business. I don't make any excuses for that. Unfortunately, this is a business, and therefore investments of this kind are the things that I believe we should be doing to enable us to build an economy which is vibrant and dynamic and allow our people to become more prosperous in whatever fields they wish to take up as collaterals, if you like, for tourism.
The afternoon was spent firstly at a site visit to Avaseli, where the delegation were welcomed by the community as part of a waka display and demonstration showcasing one of Niue's cultural treasures. The second site visit was to the solar energy site at the airport, where students from Niue High School were also present to hear of government's plans in trying to push forward for renewable energy alternatives. During this presentation, Prime Minister Bill English pledged $5 million had been committed to go towards boosting the island's renewable energy generation that will make significant cost savings and reduction in diesel use. There was also a presentation at the Niue Tourism Office that provided an overview of the growth of Niue's tourism industry.
Anywhere, a making place that draws you in.
Prime Minister Bill English also announced New Zealand would be providing $5 million to support Niue's connecting to the proposed Manatua submarine cable between Samoa and French Polynesia. The Prime Minister's whirlwind visit to Niue concluded on a high note, and they departed Niue at 5 in the afternoon, bound for Nuku'alofa, Tonga. The community was shocked to find out that a house was burnt down in Namukulu yesterday. Namukulu is the smallest village by population size, and the house was the residence of the village member of Assembly, Jack Willie Lipitoa. It is believed that the house went up in flames sometime after midday when no one was at home. A nearby resident raised the alarm and informed fire services, who responded with both fire trucks and crews on the scene. However, the fire was quite big, beyond their control, and it is unfortunate that the house and all possessions were consumed by flames. The cause of the fire has not been identified yet, but the Crash Fire Division are investigating this incident. Niue police personnel have been kept busy over the past few weeks, dealing with a string of events that include car theft, willful damage to property, and motor vehicle accidents. There has also been some concern from the public about the involvement of young people in some of these crimes and the negative impacts that their actions may have on the image of Niue that portrays itself as a safe community. Chief of Police Tony Edwards explained what the department is looking into with the case involving the car theft.
So 2 of those vehicles were taken. At the stage, we're still doing our inquiries. Officers are investigating as to, to ascertain the full reports of where these cars were taken and who they belong to. So we do understand that the cars belong to Niue Rentals. So once the officers have completed their inquiries, and then we'll be able to carry out, what we need to do.
Last weekend proved to be quite busy, where there were 2 motor vehicle accidents, one up at Tapeo Hill and another one in between Lakapa and Alofi.
Motor vehicle accidents have been a common occurrence, and so, this again reiterating myself saying that, drivers need to be more responsible when they're taking out vehicles, whether you're drink driving or whether you're speeding, but the full responsibility is an onus on drivers. So, the last weekend we had 2 motor vehicle accidents. We're still investigating it, so I won't be able to give you the facts of all the contributing facts of what happened, but in due time we'll be able to give you those.
Another case involved the damage of property at Niue High School. That was reported to have occurred in the early hours of Sunday morning. A similar incident occurred 2 years ago when the science block was targeted by students, and it is unfortunate that this has happened again, but police are continuing with their investigations.
Really disappointing to actually see that this happened with our only school, but I think people just need to be mindful that the premises of the Niue High School is a restricted area, and that they should remove themselves from this restricted area. But we have measures in place for police to carry out and to monitor those who are residing or who are partying up at this restricted area.
The Education Department has also done their own investigation into the matter. While the student has been stood down for the meantime, the Director of Education, Principal of Niue High School, have met with parents of the student involved, and this is not quite straightforward, but a decision will be made sometime next week on how to move forward. These types of reports have raised concerns about the incidents involving youth who may be slightly misguided, but the department is looking at ways to work with other groups on the island.
We still run our programs, our blue light programs, and also with school talks in Niue High School. But I think there just needs to be some more ways of how we can deal with this. And, you know, we're dealing with our kids and we're dealing with youth, and, you know, whether it's boredom or whether it's, you know, there's just peer pressure, and, you know, there's a lot of things involved. I'm looking at seeing whether we could sit down with the Niue Youth Council and try to sort of map out, you know, what's good for the youth of Niue. And, you know, if there's heaps of agencies or stakeholders that come to place where we could talk about these things and just try and map out what can we do to help our youth here on Niue. So police has an open policy where we want to lend out our hand, but then we need to sit down on the table and start talking these things out.
The department has made an appeal to the community as they look for ways to work with existing structures to serve and protect the community. And that is our news bulletin for this evening. We do hope that you enjoy the weekend ahead, and don't forget that there is the Business Awards this coming Saturday.